Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back better than ever, audio upgraded and ready to go. My name is Dalsey, joined by Ox and Celtic Tiger for day 2 of the Forge of Champions. Ox, you sounded a bit robot-y before, but we've upgraded you.
Feel a bit better now, you know. I was something I ate, I think.
Yeah. Celtic Tiger, welcome back. I hear that you've had a fun day looking around Barcelona for various bits and bobs.
Yep, I watched Luke Cage in my hotel room.
That is, that's pretty much exactly the same thing as I just mentioned. We should be back, hopefully, and we'll go over everything that did happen very swiftly so that we can jump into today's games. Forge of Champions, gentlemen, the brand new United Kingdom League of Legends tournament worth £50,000. It's pretty big, it's pretty awesome, and it's split into 4 stages, 4 qualifying tournaments that everyone can qualify for. Those are split further into an open stage and a scoring stage. So we're currently in the scoring stage, but Ox, me and you, we kind of walked over the open stage, looked at some of the people competing.
Yep, lots of teams competing. Anyone can compete. You can join in now. If you have a team, go to 40champions.com to sign up. If you're a solo player, you can still sign up. Same place. We'll put you together with some other teammates, and hopefully you'll have a good shot. Yeah, anyone's eligible to sign up, no matter... I could sign up. That kind of says something. I mean, I won't. He won't sign up. He won't be on your team. Don't worry.
You're safe. You're safe from my Aatrox one-tricking, which has suddenly got changed. We'll have to find a new one-trick,
Yeah, you can play one champ, and it's been changed.
Yeah,
so
and it got reworked.
Useless.
So, yeah.
That's true. So, I mean, Forge of Champions with the open qualifier, anyone signs up. It is, you know, however many people play. Everyone goes down through a best-of-1 single-elimination tournament until we have 8 teams left. Then they battle for seeding to then face the Premierships teams of last season for points, prize money. And then the really interesting thing, Celtic Tiger, is that each scoring tournament is worth more points as the you know, Forge of Champions progresses.
Yeah, and especially you're going to want to get as many points as possible, because while there's an EU Masters spot for the final winner of Forge of Champions, there's also one for the person with the most points. So see if they can manage to get that out. Find yourself an EU Masters. Yeah, so just I guess as a example, this current qualifying tournament that we are competing for is worth 2,200 points for the winner, but the 4th qualifying tournament, which will be happening later down the line, is worth 5,500 points for the winner. So it's quite a big leap, and it really means that consistency is key. You have to play well now, but you also have to play well down in a month's time as well. So pretty exciting stuff. ForgeofChampions.com if you guys do want to sign up. And of course, this is being brought with a partnership between UK Riot as well as LVP. So there's brand new social medias that you have to go find. LVP UK is the Twitter handle. Make sure you tweet at us using the hashtag Forge of Champions 1. We want to hear all your thoughts, your bits and bobs, what you think of everything so far, whether it be the competition or maybe just you know, this beautiful look that Ox is showcasing today. He's got more flowers.
More flowers.
General Coxie said less flowers.
You know, more flowers. Going with a summery vibe. You know, what's wrong with it? I mean, you know, tweet at me. Is my outfit good? Do I look atrocious? Hit me up.
He was actually messaging people to find out earlier and couldn't get feedback.
So make sure
you get in early so he can change if he needs to.
That's true. He's got his entire wardrobe with him. If you guys missed yesterday, we had some fantastic games yesterday. They're all uploaded to the LVP Space UK YouTube channel. Also, VODs can be found on the ForgeofChampions.com website, but you know, YouTube is the best place to go to, so make sure you go follow, subscribe to that channel, hit the like button down below, and turn on that notification bells. Wow, I just did that.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
That seemed very practiced, you know.
I used to... Okay, no, we're not even going to go there.
Wait, is there a hidden channel that no one knows about?
Definitely, first of all, but...
No. And it wasn't Minecraft related either.
Yeah, get looking.
That was not Minecraft related either. Sign-ups for the next open qualifying tournament will shut on July the 6th. So if you guys do want to get involved with the next open qualifier, then July the 6th.
You looked at us.
Yeah, and so let's have a look at that. Let's see who made it through the first open qualifier. They're the teams in front of you. The round of 16, you see the likes of Warwick Esports and Hyperion leaving it. Overheat and the Newcastle Jaguars, a new team, a university collegiate team. Digital Warfare, Forgotten in Time, Desolate, and Barrage also left the competition during the round of 16. Then yesterday we had our games. Spoiler alert, Wind and Rain beat Phelan and XL lost to M&M Gaming, which was potentially a surprise. But, you know, looking forward to today's games, get those timetables up on your screens. Of course, it is going to be Enclave Gaming up against Diabolus Esports first up. And then after that, Misfits Academy will take on the super duper giant truck team, which is another new team, another University Collegiate team. So pretty exciting stuff.
Yeah, I think Enclave against Diabolus is probably going to be one of our closest matchups. Diabolus came 5th last split and Enclave came 4th, so very closely matched. They've had a lot of interactions before.
Yep.
One's beaten one, one's beaten the other, so lots of back and forth, and interesting to see how they start off the 4G champions when they face up against each other.
Yeah, I mean, then you have Misfits coming up later. They've looked really strong. Will they continue to against what would have to be a massive upset from Super Duper Giant Truck Team?
I mean, they did win the Open qualifier, so maybe they have it in them. Just for you sake, again, the timetables, we'll bring them up on the screen so you guys know exactly what is happening today. Enclave versus Diabolus first up in just a minute, and then Misfits Academy will be playing against the Super Duper Giant Truck Team, which I hope remains in this competition for long times to come. And there's the scorelines. Sweet 2-0s yesterday. Everyone kind of just going through very convincingly across the board, and so I'm really excited as we do start to turn towards our first matchup of today, Enclave versus Diabolus. Maybe we start to see some more interesting stuff. In fact, we're just jumping straight into it here, Celtic Tiger, with the bans and the picks. We'll have to find out exactly what these two teams are bringing to the board.
Okay, and actually they're already gotten right into it, some of those bans. I like they've started to, you know, take away maybe the Morgana. I expect maybe the Karthus to follow. As we were saying, the mid laner really goes for the Karthus Morgana consistently. Maybe they remove that. I have gotten myself confused.
Yeah, you've gotten yourself mixed up. That's Super Duper Giant Truck Team. We
Spoiler
are
alert.
obviously looking at Enclave
massive
Diabolus.
spoilers for the pick ban. Next, we haven't got these scripted, by the way.
Yep.
But
Wait, hide the script, hide
Morgana
the script.
support, take it away here.
Yeah, so
pretty standard.
2 support takeaways already from Anthrax, the Braum and the Morgana, and then the other side just, I mean, again, Talia is a flex pick, but has been seen a lot in the jungle. It looks like Monkeys has honestly been focused with 3 junglers, and the problem with that is you've still left another one open, so Enclave happy to pick up this Nocturne here. Yeah,
I mean, yesterday, Enclave just playing, not yesterday, sorry, Tuesday, Enclave just played Trundle every game. Very happy to put Monkeys on that, and so, you know, picking up this Nocturne has had a lot of impact. Also, maybe struggled a little bit. Diabolus strike back with a bot lane. It is going to be Rakan and Xayah as well.
Yeah, they actually had good success with the Xayah Rakan before. On top of that, they've picked Camille Jungle as well, so I think maybe they're leaning towards that before it gets banned out in ban phase 2.
Camille Jungle already gone.
Oh,
By the way, but not just that, it's like the fact that this is a bot lane that Diabolus can play, but there is also the flexibility. You can play this mid and have Rakan as sort of support, and we've seen the gold funnel strategy. Often you can actually play Xayah and Rakan in that situation. You have the smite on Xayah and put the farm in here, so it still has some flexibility. Yes, it looks like this will be the bot lane, but there's other options. Enclave then opting for the Vlad and the Alistair, which again, that could well be that bot lane, but flexibility still possible.
Yeah, in fact, Bendy, Enclave's North American import for the team, played Valamir in their game against Digital Warfare on Tuesday as well. And it's the only player so far in the scoring stage to pick one of those unconventional picks down in the bot lane. Dr. Mundo will come through as the final pick for Diabolus. Flackish going to be playing that up in the top side. A pretty interesting matchup this, Flackish versus Rift. I'm thinking this is just going to be a showcase of top lane skill really here, Celtic Tiger.
Yeah, and I'm actually hoping we've seen Rift bring out the Darius, get the pentakill.
Right.
Has a good matchup into Dr. Mundo. Would love to see him willing to bring it out here. Maybe find himself another penta, but now we're actually broadcasting it.
Yeah, I know. He got a pentakill on Tuesday against Digital Warfare. The last kill coming through the bleed from behind the Death Tomb. But Darius will be banned, unfortunately, Kennen as well, so we're not going to see a Darius pentakill today from Rift. We will see, though, potentially what Enclave do decide to ban out is going to be that Kindred, and yesterday you were kind of talking to me, especially, Ox, that Kindred may be potentially pretty strong.
Yeah, had quite a few buffs on this Patreon 8.13, of course, and so, especially in this situation, you banned away so many junglers, and it kind of backfired for Diabolus, is that they banned away 3 junglers. Enclave got the first pick, and then Diabolus left their jungler to Leia. They still get Sejuani, which honestly it's a decent pick. It's been picked up a lot more in the LCK, particularly on this meta where you have more bruisers than normal. Easier to proc the stun. And that's the thing, is that you have to be careful for Enclave here. They want a good top lane matchup for Rifty. Diabolus wanted to avoid that, hence picking the Mundo, then banning away this Kennen and Darius. But there's a lot of threat. If you pick something vulnerable, and they decided not to. So if you pick something vulnerable, there's a lot of threat from the Sejuani and the Mundo. They can just gank it repeatedly. Instead, they go for the Cho'Gath. Much safer pick. but it is going to struggle in scaling compared to the Mundo. Although Cho'Gath does get very tanky, Mundo just becomes invincible.
Lucian has made it all the way through the draft, gentlemen, but we do note that Bendy did pick up the Vladimir marksman earlier on, so we will find out if this is a mid lane Vladimir. It looks like it will be Ezreal locked in here, Celtic.
Okay, yeah, I was expecting maybe the Lucian to come in. I like the Lucian Alistair as heavy aggression. Maybe not so comfortable knowing they're up against Zyra Khan, one of the best 2v2s early.
Oh, it makes sense. Champions that were, you know, built to be played with each other. Looking for a mid laner pick now from Diabolus. Soul has been banned out quite a lot this tournament. We haven't seen it, and it's just one of those champions that you either play it or you don't. Today, Zeph is going to be playing it.
Yeah, I think it's strong in this meta because obviously having a mid laner who can shove and roam is so important with so much pressure needed to contest these Scuttle Crabs. Especially when you have picked up the Sejuani, who isn't the best at contesting them, a bit weaker in the early game. It's nice to have a mid laner who can back you up. You have a bot lane which can back you up in Zyra Khan. And, I mean, Mundo Smash, so he can just do his own thing. Yeah,
I think there's going to be massive four-man plays around the bot lane. You have Sejuani, you have Zyra Khan, both Rakan and Sejuani at level 6. Massive ult engages under a tower, and Aureliad's all quickly roaming down to help out.
I mean, I'm really excited for this matchup. Not only do Enclave and Diabolus have a bit of a rivalry that's formed over the last couple of years, all of these players are exceptionally talented, and so we are expecting really this to be the closest matchup so far of the Forge of Champions.
Yeah, and we've seen a few of these guys actually face up against higher tiers. We've seen a lot of them in EU Masters themselves, Flaxish even in LCS, so a lot of experience in these teams. Can they show us why they earned that?
Really exciting as well for Enclave. I mean, I'm a big fan of Rift and Haddo. You know, they've been playing League of Legends together for quite some time.
Yep.
Eminem, most notably during the glory days of Eminem, maybe potentially for Eminem, as we saw yesterday, they're back ready to play some League of Legends. But when you do look over to Diabolus, this is a team that has invested a lot into the UK scene. You know, everyone of their players is claiming residency in Manchester. They are, you know, training at esports arenas all around the country, playing from esports arenas as well as
right now, I believe.
As seen, yeah, I believe in Preston. So pretty exciting stuff for them, and you know, that's good to see the commitment that comes out of the team, that they're really trying to make this work. The question is, can they do it against Enclave, who's just a team which has so much star power, really?
Yeah, and I mean, it's edged out ahead of them a few times recently. We were talking about the rivalry of they've taken a few wins back and forth. Specifically, though, I mean, I remember at EU Masters, Diabolos was looking to get that spot. Enclave just edges out ahead of them and gets to represent themselves on the big stage. Now, maybe on a somewhat smaller stage, hoping to get some revenge.
Yeah, and I think the main talking point for Enclave has to be Bendy. You know, he's an ex-Optic Academy player, imported over from North America to play here in the Forge of Champions. What can he do for the squad? I mean, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think it's a good balance because you have Haddo, who's a very experienced support. We talked yesterday about how M&M have won the Premiership, the previous UK iteration before 40 Champions, 3 times. A big part of that was off Haddo. He's on the roster for a very long time.
Yep.
So a veteran support. And I actually spoke to Enclave about this, and they just felt they couldn't find an AD carry, well, we say AD carry, a bot laner now.
Sure.
In Europe who they felt suited them, and so they actually looked further afield. Bendy actually has Czech citizenship, so was able to play and is now a UK resident, so reside in the UK, and hopefully that level of talent coming over from Optic Academy will complement the experience from Haddo.
And when you talk about Haddo even more so, last split he played on Diabolus.
Yeah,
this is him up against his former team, and have to feel like that just ends up fueling the rivalry even more.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to play into it. You know, you've swapped rosters and you've swapped sides effectively in this rivalry. You want to show up and be like, hey, I was the reason we were winning before. Now I'm going to take that across to the other side.
We've talked a bit about Rifty and his pentakill, but it's worth noting that Cookie in Game 1 of their series against Forgotten in Time in the round of 16 also managed to pick up a pentakill on Kai'Sa. I mean, what do you guys think? Like, this is 2 teams that clearly dominate their matches.
Kai'Sa pentakill's cheating.
I think Darius is kind of cheating as well, but
I mean, at least he's slow.
I think it does kind of speak to both of these teams. There's a lot of veteran players with a lot of experience. Both these teams came 4th and 5th last split, so didn't have the best results, but they've picked up very experienced rosters here, and you can see that from how they've played up to this point. They're wanting to play flashy, they're wanting to get the big plays, they're wanting the pentakills, and it's interesting to see how they take that into this game when they're matching up against a team. But honestly, stylistically, I think they're very similar.
Stylistically very similar, so it's going to be a game of inches then. who can take those advantages. In the bot lane and the top lane, those two side lanes are going to be ones to watch. But in the mid lane, we've got Eren and Zeph, two players who potentially we don't know super amounts of. Zeph, a Vietnamese player, Eren, a Vietnamese player, I do believe, whereas Zeph used to play for the ROG school, a French team. I mean, we've got Aurelion Sol in the mid lane. It's pretty exciting.
I mean, especially when you're up against something like Vlad, the wave clear is going to be so heavily in Aurelion Sol's favor that he could start roaming to these side lanes, which we expected to be a bit more action-packed. I expect, again, down to the bot lane because you have big tanks up at the top lane. So I expect to see Aurelion Sol just constantly roaming down and hopefully some vision response.
The really interesting thing as well is I think that kind of matchup that is that Nocturne into the Aurelion Sol obviously doesn't want to be on the back line. That's kind of the whole point of the kit, is that you can stay quite afar. So Enclave have a lot of power. Really interesting to see Cho'Gath coming in back into the ladder. This is the second time I think we've seen him actually this week during the Forge of Champions. Both games were, or the first game was in the round of 16, so, you know, it wasn't broadcasted. But, you know, Rift really pulling it out, and it's a champion that obviously has its own right in its lane, but it's not kind of a champion that you maybe expect Rift to be playing.
Yeah, I mean, Rifty is someone who can play a lot of carries, but I think he is willing to play tanks when he needs to, and I think he knows that in this matchup, if he did pick a carry, he would get hard pressured by the Mundo and Sejuani combo. I think it's just because of slight nerfs to Ornn, slight nerfs to Singe, they've moved down a bit in priority this patch, and I think that's why I decided to go for the Cho'Gath. It does have early pressure on the Mundo, and we talked about the Darius having kill pressure on a Mundo yesterday, in the fact that when he hits level 6 and he gets low, he wants to pop his ult, you can burst him. Same concept applies with the Cho'Gath. If you dive a Mundo with a Cho'Gath and you eat him when he gets too low and pops his ult, easy pickup for him.
Well, we've talked a lot about what we think is going to be happening in this first game of this quarterfinals between Enclave and Diabolus, but we would love to know what you guys at home are thinking. Make sure to tweet us at LVPUK with the hashtag ForgeOfChampions1 with all your juicy details, your Twitter analysis, so that we can become better as casters on the desk and, you know, just commentators in general.
I think you need that, definitely.
I definitely need that myself. Wow.
Oh.
It's a bit harsh. I mean, I locked you in a cage yesterday, and I'm thinking that maybe it's a good idea
I
again.
thought there was ice cream bot, though. I thought we were done with this.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit too harsh, but, you know.
It's the sun's got to you.
Yeah, the heat is too... I mean, we had a long walk.
Your floral
earlier.
shirt should be keeping you plenty cool.
I mean, it's quite breezy. Yeah. I feel like you guys would probably be heating up more than me in the shirt yourselves.
I mean, I'm always hot.
Oh, well. I mean, I'm
No,
not going to disagree, but okay.
let him sit with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope you're happy.
I'm not.
That's what I thought.
I'm sitting here very uncomfortable, dreading to head home. I am being informed that the game is currently paused, so clearly the players not quite ready to jump into this epic affair. I mean, one thing that you have to consider is that Enclave versus Diabolus is obviously a matchup that is, you know, starting to develop as a bit of a rivalry here in the UK. But you have to also just look forward. You know, they are very much likely going to be playing Misfits Academy in the semi-finals next week. I mean, I'm hoping. I'm hoping.
Yeah,
that
super
duper giant truck team, you know, pull out the mixer trucks.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for something to do during this pause, maybe find their theme song, listen to that. It is mesmerizing in its own right.
It's a children's TV show, so we found out.
I mean, it's a TV show for all ages. It happens to be marketed to children, I think.
I think you two are children.
I mean, I definitely enjoyed the song. I'm disappointed that the players aren't named after the different trucks mentioned.
Maybe they tried to. Maybe they couldn't find their names in the US. So if you're watching this and your name is Mixer, then hit them up and try and switch to them.
Yeah.
But yeah. So interesting that we were talking about the rivalry between Diabolus and Enclave before. Diabolus, we've said they invested a lot in this split, and they invested a lot in last split as well, and they didn't have the result they quite wanted. As you said, they didn't make EU Masters as they'd hoped to. All four of the top teams ended up going in the Premiership last split just because of how things worked out. Other teams already had spots, and Diabolus didn't manage to get their hands on that, and it was Enclave who took that spot off them. And then in return, Diabolus managed to knock them out of the Insomnia Open. So being back and forth, I think Diabolus, they've decided to invest even more this split, so they're not disheartened. They want to establish themselves as one of the top UK teams, and Enclave, once again, might be here to stop them.
I mean, that's definitely the case here. They're really looking to try and take this all the way. When you talk about what's on the line, I mean, we've already talked about the fact that there's EU Masters spots, but every stage of this tournament you get a bit of dollar, which is always nice. And obviously, the further you go, the better. And for all these UK teams, it's all about sustainability as well. And so that's kind of what Forge of Champions is here to bring. I'm being informed it is Diabolus who have caused the pause. Apparently, one of the players not connecting to the game. I'm being informed as well that if they can't connect within the next couple minutes, then the game will just be played until they do connect. So the stopwatch is on.
Strategy.
I'm sure all of the solo queue players who are watching have experienced something like this.
Yeah.
When one of those players disconnects, you're like, oh, it's one of those games. You missed the remake like, timer, and you're like,
I always hate the one where you're waiting and they reconnect at 2:59. I've had that twice.
Oh, and the worst is when you're playing bot lane and your partner's not there, and you're getting absolutely manhandled, and then they reconnect, and you're like, oh, now I feel good. Yeah. Oh, great.
Well, we are jumping into the game. It is going to be where we say goodbye to you, Celtic Tiger. But bringing the action with me is Ox for this first Forge of Champions quarter-final today. Enclave versus Diabolus.
Yeah, we have to wonder. Oh, it does look like all 5 members are here, so
Yay!
that's pretty fortunate.
Exciting.
And you actually nearly step on that bush with 3 people, but does manage to get away. And Enclave just going to place some vision down. Didn't quite get the 3rd auto for that ward. How unfortunate.
That is unlucky. That could have been a whole CS advantage in the jungle.
Massive early lead, to be honest. But, you know, it looks like the side of Diabolus is just going to play a bit of a defensive start, but NG, not wanting to be spotted out by the other side, actually heads towards his blue buff. So both junglers starting on the bot side. And will be interesting to see how the scuttle priority goes, because obviously the option is there to go straight for the bot lane scuttle. The alternative is you can go towards the top side, but with both junglers essentially mirroring each other from this point, interesting to see how that will end up.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited for this mid lane between Eren and Zeph, just due to the fact that Aurelion Sol has been locked in here. You see a bit of early damage coming through. From Zeph, it's just so easy when you have those swirling stars around you.
Yeah, and that's just the power of the Aurelion Sol level 1, particularly into the Vladimir. Very long cooldowns on the Vladimir's Q early, whereas there isn't essentially cooldowns for the Aurelion Sol. He just has his stars floating around him all the time as long as he has the mana. So that is the reason for the matchup being picked. And I think it's important because we're actually seeing a bit of aggression here in the mid lane.
Yeah, Zeph is got level 2. He's going to be looking for that stun. The flash does come through from Eren. Is going to be him surviving for now. But that is just the power of the level 2 Aurelion Sol. It's such a huge power spike in the mid lane.
Yeah, and I think Eren got the level 2 first there and actually tried to go aggressive with it, but that's just how weak Vladimir is at this early point. He decided to level the E, doesn't have his W, his pool to get away, and ends up losing an early flash. I mean, Vladimir is one of these champions mid lane who are quite safe once he gets his pool, but even so, not wanting to bring a flash that early.
This top lane was the one I wanted to focus on, but it does look like Anthrax is providing a bit of action. Ignite down onto Haddo, safe and sound for now, is fairly low.
Yeah, so a bit of an aggressive trade. Haddo should be fine here, has the potions to heal up. Does mean some pressure is relieved from this Ignite not being up, but I actually like going aggressive early and using the Ignite, potentially forcing to summon out yourself. Although it wasn't here, Anthrax's Ignite is going to be taken away. Cooldown isn't that long, so may well get another chance to use it in a few minutes.
The really disappointing thing for me is that I was really looking forward to this top lane battle, but with a Cho'Gath and a Dr. Mundo, you're kind of expecting it potentially to be a little bit more of a farm fest.
Yeah, I think particularly early, I think Mundo doesn't have as much shoving power as the Cho'Gath, but has some poke on him, but I don't think it's going to be too impactful. The key point to look at is when Cho'Gath and the Nocturne hit level 6, because there is huge dive pressure onto the Mundo. Yes, Mundo will have his ult, but it relies on him getting low on HP. You actually have to use some of your own HP as well.
We're seeing it here. Flackish is going in. That's going to be the flash away from Flackish, and oh, first blood comes through. I was wrong.
Yeah, huge play from Flackish, and we said that there is the advantage for the Mundo if he starts to land some cleavers, and the confident flash gets ahead of Rifty. Rifty has to flash over him, but isn't able to gain a distance. And a great play. This is not what you want to see in a tank vs tank top lane matchup.
Unfortunate for Zeph, was trying to bait the fight in. Jungler wasn't quite ready to go for, had decided it was not worth the hassle. Potentially could have been a kill in the mid lane for Diabolus.
Yeah, and we see Monkeys on Enclave actually did manage to pick up the top lane scuttle, but this is why the Aurelion Sol was picked. You have a weaker early game jungler in the Sejuani, but because of the strength in the mid lane, you can have pressure. And they're actually going for a roam top lane.
Have to see if this one does pay off. NG gonna jump on in. Rifty stunned up under the turret, and it is gonna be the kill. Going over to Zeph. Everyone low, but a beautiful turret dive nonetheless.
Yeah, just really solid macro play coming out from Diabolus there. They know the flash is down on the Cho'Gath. NG flashes straight in to secure the knock-up and then tanks for just long enough. Just honestly great coordination from this fairly new roster who have only been put together for this split.
One of the things we saw a lot in EU Masters, at least expected a lot, was the roaming presence from the mid laners, but it didn't really come off too much. Here's the replay of that coming out, and it's just Zeph.
Rifty feels safe under the tower, but NG goes in, gets the flash for the knock-up. Easy to CC a Cho'Gath as a mobile. Rifty does as much as he can, gets the knock-up, but NG just able to get out of the tower, and Zeph able to as well. Perfect aggro. I feel like if anyone took one more tower hit there, they probably would have fallen, so very nicely juggled.
This is really important, I think, for Diabolus. With this Aurelion Soul, you know, his kit is all about the power that you do have when you do decide to roam either top or bot. But it's these side lanes that are really important for both Diabolus and Enclave. Rift, a carry threat in his own. Flackish, you know, one of the most experienced top laners I think we have playing in the Forge of Champions, and if you can get Flackish going, then that's a really good thing for Diabolus.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've talked about how Cho'Gath and Nocturne have kill potential on the Mundo when he hits 6. That's if you get there without being really far behind. Flackish going aggressive again.
Level 6 unlocked, and in this fight in the bot lane as well, Energy is here. Not quite hit the slow, but it is going to be fine here. Diabolus do not get kills just yet, but they're forcing the summoners from Haddo. Both that Ignite and Flash has been used. Here comes Monkus in the top side. That Mundo ult has been used. I think Flackish may be dead, but Rift, is he going to be able to get his way? Yeah, fine.
Yeah, and this is what we thought would happen when you have the Nocturne and the Cho'Gath top. Didn't actually have the 6 from the Cho'Gath or the Nocturne there. Just managed to walk up on him. Flackish a bit over-aggressive. Should have played respectful. You know your jungler's on the bot side of the map. You know you don't have assistance, but seeing some more aggression mid lane. And this is what we expected from this matchup, that both teams are trying to find advantages in the early game, and it's coming out already. 2-1 now to Diabolus, but they're actually behind in gold so far.
Yeah, quite interesting. I think it's just the CS differences coming up very slightly, mostly in that jungle where you expect a Nocturne to hard farm. Yeah,
we did mention that Monkus was able to pick up a Scuttle Crab advantage over NG, and you can see now he managed to hit his level 6 when he got that kill top lane. NG's still level 5, and the key thing with the Nocturne is where does he use his first ult and how impactful is it? You at least want a kill. Ideally you want a kill into an objective, and the golden thing is when you get 2 kills or more.
Does look like he is on the bot side of this lane, but with Haddo going back to base to shop up, not going to be a gank there just yet. Zeph getting that blue buff will be coming up shortly for Monkus. Of course, Aren not likely needing that.
Yeah, and I think the thing for me, if I was playing on Enclave, is you have to ask where is the best place to pressure. Bot's going to be difficult once Xayah gets to level 6 and Rakan's so mobile. So there's the option to go mid. If you do get on top of the Aurelion Soul, you might struggle, but also you can go top side where flashes are unavailable for the top and the jungler. Did you see the gold flash up on our screen? It was a decent difference between the junglers. But across the board, Flash is doing pretty well for himself with that kill and assist, but Rifty managing to catch up in CS.
I mean, one thing to talk about for Flackish is that, you know, he used to play for Giants back in spring 2017 in the EU LCS. He's a player that's kind of been described as a risky, makes great plays sometimes, but sometimes just goes a little bit over the top. I feel for him, it's about redemption here in the Forge of Champions, really just trying to show his worth in the top side.
Yeah, he's played in some very competitive scenes. He has played in the LCS. He's played most recently in the LVP in Spain, where he's on Movistar Riders, who came second there nationally and played in EU Masters. So a lot of experience, but maybe not the results he wants, and we are seeing him play mid.
Yeah, it's going to be the Zhonya's to try and keep himself alive. Can this Sejuani get into position? Diving on over. Haddo here as well, looking to shut down this fight, but now going to be turned upon. Knocked up, stunned up, but Zeph taking 1 kill. He's damaging them all! It's going to be 2. Make that 3 kills for Diabolus as the roam comes through. Very late second for Anthrax.
Yeah, and we talked about how much impact you want to make with the Nocturne ult. The best thing is you get 2 or more kills. It's not when the other team gets 2 or more kills. Such a great play from Zeph. Not only did he manage to kite away from Ren, but he ulted Monkus out of the fear range, then cast the Zhonya so he didn't get feared at the end of it. Managed to buy some space, and then great play from NG to follow up, and just this Diabolus roster looks dominant so far. They picked up the first tower and now have a 2.2 goal. We see it mid, so Zeph gets the engage on Trim, ult knocks away Monkus and breaks the tether as he Zhonya's. NG now comes in. They manage to get some damage onto Eren, who then pulls away. Hado comes in, isn't able to get on Zephyr's on the tower, and then your Alistair has no level 6. He gets stunned, and then great turn from NG as the Vlad steps up. He didn't even expect it, because there was a flash available for Eren, just didn't expect the turn from the Sejuani, and Anthrax turns up the end, but isn't even need. Great play from this mid and jungle from Diabolus.
I just love the fact that, you know, we've seen the changes to Nocturne's ultimate, the paranoia, blackness just like lasting for longer. You kind of see that from NG as he does move towards. You would expect the Sejuani to jump in quicker. Flackish is doing so much damage here. I'm scared.
Yeah, I think that's the
Rift.
thing, is if you get ahead as a Mundo starts to win this matchup more and more later on, obviously having percentage HP on their cleavers, but if you get ahead early, it just becomes really difficult for the Cho'Gath. Frankly, all he can do now is try and wave clear, and he actually had to burn his TP to get up top, which isn't what you want to do as a sustain tank. You should be happy to sustain in lane. You're now burning your TP, and in about a minute, there's going to be a TP advantage for Diabolus on the top side of the map.
With a Dr. Mundo, who is relatively fed with a huge gold lead as well. At least 19 CS in the lead. Here comes Zeph and NG to make Rift's life a living misery. We've seen this before. It is a deja vu, unfortunately, for this Mundo, and Zeph finds another.
Oh, NG might be in trouble.
Oh, he is. It's going to be flashing in. Flackish is low as well. Here comes the Nocturne. Great use of the broken stopwatch as Monkus dives in. It's a fight on all forms. Eren trying to get away, and he does. That's now Zeph just trying to survive. Monkus on this Aurelion Soul. Not going to chase too far, scared of everything that's coming out of him. They're just playing very carefully around his W, but I don't think they can get too close. What a great turnaround from Enclave.
Yeah, very difficult to get onto that Aurelion Soul at the end. If you can't get right on him, he's just going to kite you. But great play from Monkus to turn that around. Rifty, frankly, getting bullied in the top lane here. They are very much picking on him, but Eren makes a good read, good roam up. You can see they go for the play top. Rifty knows there's not very much you can do. He just tries to get as much damage in CC back, particularly on NG, who flashes takes the aggro at the start, and then he puts it all down onto the Sejuani. Eren comes in with the Predator, manages to get the follow-up kill, and then kites back. He's buying time. In comes the Nocturne. Good stopwatch from Flaxus. Honestly, if he died there without using stopwatch, I think that the Aurelion Soul would have gone down too. And then Eren, good kiting, using the minions to block, and Flaxus ends up dying for being over-aggressive. Monkus not quite able to get on top of Zeph, and when you're not on top, right on top of the Aurelion Soul, you're going to be taking a lot of damage, so understandably backs off. But this Aurelion Soul very strong, and we actually, off camera, saw him take out the Vladimir, so not quite sure how that happened. Didn't quite get to see it.
I'm sure we'll get a replay of it very shortly. With that pressure off in the mid lane, does look like NG is taking the Rift Herald by himself. Diabolus so far with a 2,000 gold lead, also with that tower down in the mid lane very early. All about the macro game for him. Here's that replay of Eren just called out.
Yeah, so just overstayed a bit from that previous play. Gets collapsed down, and then when you're against the Sejuani, the problem is, what do you pull? If you pull the W, it's going to easily set up the stun from an E, and it's just a difficult situation all around. And the reward is, Rifty have to move mid to cover the CS there, and Flaxius has some free time on this top lane tower.
Rift Herald now in the hands of NG. Diabolus currently calling the shots as far as macro rotation is concerned. Have to praise Enclave's response to that previous roam up top. You know, it's hard to show up roughly at the same time as an Aurelion Soul. Eren, not too far off, was able to turn things around. And that's, I guess, the power as well of a Nocturne. Do spot out Eren in this bush, but he has to be careful. Gonna sidestep away. Currently just pressure being put on by Enclave on this spot side, but it's all about that top lane where Flackish has just taken down a turret by himself.
Yeah, Flackish gets a free tower from that pressure, so Rift had to go mid and cover, and is rewarded, but Eren might be in trouble here.
See if NG can get on into this. Here comes the Nocturne. It's all a bait. Great knockback coming through from the Soul, and Monkus is going to be in trouble as he just gets knocked down so easy. Flackish trying to come in with that Mundo ult. Doesn't look like he's going to get into position, but with the Rift Herald down in mid lane and Anthrax coming over as well, this is going to be a giant push by Diabolus.
Yeah, and this is the issue when you have a Vlad mid lane. You have no wave clear. Diabolus going to go for the push here. Looks like Enclave might contest, but there's not a ton you can do against that team comp.
Bendy is here with Cookie down in the bot side. That does spell Diabolus falling back here, but does mean that they can rotate down to the bot side, get that last tier 1 tower, and complete the outer ring.
Yeah, just really solid rotations by pressuring the mid tower. Not only do they get it low, but it forces the enemy team to react, and now you get this free outer tower, which honestly, you'd prefer at this point of the game. So finally getting some gold onto your AD carry, who, I mean, frankly, Cookie hasn't done too much this game, but you're completely fine with that because Xayah is going to scale very well into the late game.
One thing I found very interesting when watching Diabolus's games against Forgotten in Time was how consistent they were in their game plan. It's almost like they were playing to a game book. Both games ended at 24 minutes and a half.
Yeah, well, they've been working closely with their coach Mora in the gaming arena that they are in currently, and it clearly has paid off because it's not like, I mean, there have been some outplays. I will admit, Zephyr's played very well mechanically so far. Flaxy's got that solo kill top lane, but for the most part, just really solid macro play all around has led to them getting a significant lead. Now 3.6k gold at only 15 minutes.
The tower advantage as well, sitting at 4 here. Cloud Drake is on the map, not as sought after as the rest of his dragon buddies. Does look like Diabolus really just do not care about the existence of it. More importantly, that's a mid lane tower which has already been taken down. We missed that. So Diabolus really just looking for the next thing. They've got 4 minutes until the Baron does spawn. If they can shut down the scaling of Bendy on this Ezreal, then they're going to have a good time closing out.
Yeah, and I think something to talk about is how non-impactful, I would say, the Nocturne has been. And I feel like he did have that good old top lane, but aside from that, he struggled to make anything happen. And the issue is the champions you're against. We saw this the other day when Alessandro was picked up into the Nocturne, and the fact that you can ult yourself, keep yourself alive. And the similar thing has gone down here. Whenever the Aurelion Sol is jumped on by the Nocturne, he ults him away. The slow means he can create distance. And it's a similar situation bot lane with the Xayah, who can obviously ult up, become untargetable, lay the feathers. And it's very easy for these carries to defend themselves. And then you have such a strong front line who now are a slight bit faster with this Cloud Drake.
Yep, Cloud Drake will be secured here by Diabolus. Decide you might as well take it away. Hope for an Infernal to spawn. Might as well. Flackish and Rift having a bit of fun in the top side as these tanks kind of battle it out, try and get some pressure. But look at this massive rotation coming from Diabolus. Everyone heading top. A minion wave coming as well, really forcing Enclave to meet them at this top turret.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that the game is completely in Diabolus' hands here. They have the pressure. They decide where Enclave go. And you can see, they're just reacting to them. And this isn't how you want to be playing. They're so far behind. They just have to go wherever Diabolus want them to go. And clearly Diabolus want them to lose, so not a situation you want.
Yeah, big push up in the bot lane. Looks like those minions are pushing towards the tower of Diabolus. But that's something Diabolus wants, really. You know, it's just gold income that Bendy doesn't have access to.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a difficult situation because Ezreal's still scaling. Hasn't managed to finish his Mirror Mana at this point. Still hasn't finished the Triforce. You got to ask the question, will he go for a tier to get the Seraphs on top of that? Well, he has actually finished stacking it now. But still, you're going to have to deal with two massive tanks on the side of Diabolus. The Mundo in particular is going to be so hard to kill. I just really wonder what this Ezreal's going to be able to do, because if you're not hitting someone squishy, you're going to do very little. And the thing is, with frontline against Ezreal, it's hard because every time you throw a Mystic Shot, there's going to be some beefy tank who we can see right there in front of us, a big beefy green tank, soaking them up.
Currently just scaling up to scary proportions. 2 minutes left until this Baron does spawn, so Diabolus going to slowly but methodically start to place vision towards that top side jungle. Continuously just looking out for a potential misstep. Enclave being fairly patient and respectful, not wanting to allow Diabolus to get extra advantages before the big purple worm does join us on the rift.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes a lot of sense as you sort of want to try and set yourself up so you can contest this Baron. And just looking at the items here, have seen the Executioner's Calling picked up by the Xayah, so going to be able to reduce some of the healing on that Vladimir. But on the other side, no healing reduction on the side of Enclave. And I understand you are a bit gold starved, so you might not necessarily be able to go for that. But at the same time, you're just never going to be able to kill this Mundo.
Well, here we do. Roam down bot, Bendy. Very safe on this Ezreal, but it is going to be some tower damage coming out as NG just very happy to tank this up on that Sejuani. Flackish also roaming down into the mid side, pushing pressure onto Enclave, making sure that all these lanes are pushing favorably for Diabolus. I'm sure right now it's just a case of damage for Diabolus, not really looking for the fight. And NG's, in fact, tanking the tower. Hado wants to punish it, but maybe being baited in. In fact, here we go. They've just killed Rakan, and they're going to go for more. Huge damage, though, coming out of this Aurelion Soul, and it's going to get turned around as Flackish on the front line doing the work. Zeph potentially going to go down, but Cookie body blocking on this Xayah. Maybe out of position? No, not at all. Diabolus have full control. An ace for them.
And this is the problem with this Ezreal pick, is it looked so good when the HP bars were so low, but he's not able to get on top of this carries. He is forced to try and finish off the low HP Aurelion Soul, trying to finish off the low HP Xayah, and it's just bursted through in return because he gets on top of the tank line and they punish him. And now Cookie able to TP in. It looks like Diabolus able to pick up the first inhibitor of the game, and this is the exact inhibitor you want when Barons just spawn. You can see in the bottom left corner at 20 minutes, that is the objective you want. And Hado overstepping here maybe as well.
Yeah, he is going to be allowed to walk away. The question is, can Eren get onto anyone here? NG, the jungler, would be a great target. The teleport coming through from Rift as well. Going to be speedy, get slowed down. Bendy putting down the pressure. Doesn't quite have that true shot barrage ready to go, but it is tanking away, ticking up. Have to make sure that the recalls from Zeph, from NG are well placed so they don't fall victim to that when it does come out. You would expect from Bendy.
This is so bad for Enclave though, because you've just burned both of your TPs. You have super minions pushed in the bot lane. Flaxius is just going to go bot, shove the wave in, and who's going to answer him? If you send Cho'Gath, then they can have 5 people at Baron. This is a really bad situation to be in. I mean, ignoring the 8k gold deficit, well, 7.3k, but ignoring that, you're in such a rough situation.
Literally nothing you can do about this. And it is going to be the Vision attempt for Enclave. Securing that Rift Scuttler is a bit of a consolation prize at this point. Yes, you do get that consistent vision, but it's not enough necessarily to be able to make impactful moves when you can see Flackish with his teleport just pushing down bot side. Yeah,
and someone has to answer that soon. I mean, Rift is going to have to move over, but then you now have 4 people to trying to defend this Baron when you're so far behind.
Here's that replay.
We will see the replay from bot. So Hado does see the step up from NG. Wait, not having it yet. Yeah, I think it's now. NG steps up, actually has aggro. Hado goes to punish. Quite a bit of damage comes down on him. And then a flash in from Eren completely bursts through the support and Anthrax on this Rakan. But then great damage and stun coming out from the early.
We've got a fight breaking out as well. Hado potentially in trouble, but Eren wants to go in. There's the paranoia jumping onto the backline, but Monkiss gets destroyed, and he will be watching the fight from afar. Eren shortly to follow. It's 3 kills for Diabolus, and the Baron ready to be taken.
Yeah, I feel bad for Hado there. Obviously, try to contest some of this vision on the Baron, but got caught out, and then they look for the backline access. You have to stop this Aurelion Sol and Xayah from free hitting, but they weren't able to find it. And as soon as you dive that deep, you now have a Mundo, a Rakan, and a Sejuani locking you up.
This is going to be an easy take here for Diabolus, who have looked so consistent so far here. So far, games 24-33, 24-52. I mean, we're getting closer to that.
Yeah, so here's the engage. Hado just caught out here, has to pop his ult early, and then Eren comes in looking for the damage on the backline, but actually split focus coming out from Monkiz, but they're both disengaged and CC'd. And the thing is, they don't find either target. A bit of a miscommunication there, because you look how low Cookie is, you look how low Anthrax is. If they'd gone for 1 target, they maybe would have got a kill that could have done a bit more in that team fight.
The thing to remember is that, of course, Rift did not have his teleport available, so that all-in committal from Enclave when Hado did get caught out was always going to be a 4-5, which at this point you wouldn't expect Enclave to win.
Yeah, and the question you have to ask is, Hado had his flash available. Yes, it's not a great situation for your Alistair to win flash and ult, but you aren't going to win that team fight unless you play it perfectly, and they didn't. And instead of just letting the Alistair flash away and sort of resetting and trying to contest Baron, then they end up going for a fight which backfired massively.
Diabolus taking things slow since they've secured the Baron. The Ocean Drake going to be in their pockets now. We see Flackish up in the top side pushing down that wave. Of course, Supers in the bot side doing their work, and the rest of Diabolus going to be grouping mid.
Yeah, and I think the only way you really have an opportunity to win this is somehow Eren finds a flank and manages to get a huge combo onto both the Xayah and the Aurelion Sol. They have Zhonya's and the Xayah, so it's still not necessarily going to do a ton.
Engage coming through from Hado, but oh dear, great stopwatch. This is not going well so far for Enclave as Aaron is so low. Monkus as well. 1 kill, 2 kill, 3 kills. There's only Rift and Bendy left alive. And I say that as Rift falls, Bendy short to follow. Ace comes through for Diabolus, and that will be the game.
Yeah, absolutely. They have super minions pushing the bot lane. I mean, Enclave had to try and do something. They knew that the pressure was on the side of Diabolus, but they aren't able to win a team fight from this far behind. And Diabolus, easy clean out, honestly dominant throughout the entire game. Bear in mind, this is the 5th place team from last split against the 4th place team. Diabolus are the lower placing team, and it doesn't look like it in this game.
First game of the Forge of Champions for Diabolus, a 24-minute 33 affair. Their third game, 24-30 seconds. I don't know what it is about the Diabolus gamebook, but it is very consistent. Each game ending around that exact 24.5-minute mark. Pretty impressive stuff as they do take game 1. We're rejoined by Celtic Tiger, who's been sitting on the sidelines, ready to report the action. I mean, what do you think of that game?
I mean, I was just watching Zeph the whole early game, along with NG, just making those roams, ensuring that their early game was completely dominant. From there, even in the mid game, he was carrying most of those team fights with really solid Aurelion Sol ults. And once they started edging out in those fights, just barely in fairness, but they were able to get every objective.
I've been really interested because, you know, across the Forge of Champions tournament so far, there has been a decent amount of prioritization onto Aurelion Sol, but we haven't yet seen him played. Right there, Zeph showed that the power is still very strong if you know how to rotate around him. And that's the one thing I feel that Diabolus had in their book, was their macro rotation.
Yeah, and I think we talked about how it was a bit risky to play something that's vulnerable to the Sejuani Mundo, because obviously they have a lot of lockdown, a lot of damage from Mundo, and it just looked like Cho'Gath wasn't it. We said there is the opportunity to sort of wait for that level 6 and pressure the Mundo, but a mistake from Rift early meant that they just got punished again and again and again. And I think the big thing this game, I mean, we just talked about, is mid-priority, is that the Vlad probably should have gone bot lane. I mean, the Ezreal didn't do much for them, the Vladimir didn't do much for them, it just got shoved in. I think in a situation where like that, where it happened, you should really look for something that can provide more pressure in the mid lane, because you had a Nocturne, and the Nocturne honestly did great.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get a look at those games, how they happened in just a second. But one thing I do want to highlight for Enclave so far is that, you know, in the mid lane, they've been playing carries. In the top lane, they have been carries. In this game, wasn't too similar. Here we go, that's that first big fight in the mid lane where Diabolus turned it around, Celtic.
And just look at where Zeph positions in every fight. He's always able to get people off him, move back in the fight, and then get those Qs down, just consistent damage coming out from the orbs.
Yeah, you can see now those plays are making towards top side. This was actually one that went favorably for Enclave, about the only play that sort of did.
I mean, look down at the mini-map. It's great rotation coming from Aaron, straight on in there. And then, of course, that Nocturne is not too far behind.
Yeah, this is only really the saving grace for Aaron, the only thing that I think that went well for him. And I think the problem is you're playing against Aurelion Sol, who roams faster than you, who shoves better than you. You're never going to be there before him.
Yeah, and I mean, even then, it was so close to going completely wrong for Enclave. They managed to turn it around again. As you said, a good position for Aaron to be in, but at the same time, I would question whether that was just an unfortunate overstay after a good roam.
Yeah, I'd agree. And we've seen again, Aaron goes for a one-shot there, does manage to get it, but gets punished afterwards. And I think it does come down to a few things. One of them would be the draft, one of them would be the misplay top lane, but particularly the great macro play from Diabolus throughout this game.
Really great understanding of how to fall back and peel that damage. Hado tried his best with the plays, and Monkus as well diving in, but it was always just shut down by Diabolus.
And you can see why Zeph previously has played things like the Galio, just likes that global pressure that he was able to bring with Aurelion Sol. I wonder if they ban that away, if he goes back towards that Galio now, makes sure he still can make these roams.
I mean, Ryze, Galio, and now Aurelion Sol, all champions with a lot of roaming pressure. Starting to see some similarities here with the way Diabolus and Enclave play. It's just, for me, was not an Enclave game. Let's get let's get Aaron back on a Yasuo or Zoe. Put him on this kind of like crazy carry champion. Rift, every time he's looked strong, has been when he has been carrying.
You see, my worry then is you still get pushed in early and have to scale. You need your side lanes to be more responsive, and part of that is going to be your jungler needs to be helping them set down vision.
We talked about this Ezreal pick. I mean, it's a huge commitment from Enclave to import a North American Academy player over. I guess we're going to have to find out if that decision is going to reap the benefits. We're going to be back very shortly for Game 2 of Enclave versus Diabolus.